Hello, Uplink. Welcome to our weekly lesson for October 25th, 2020. Today we are going to talk about Jesus being arrested. So, just like always, we want you to read this question, talk about it, think about it, and pause the video. Join us when you are ready. All right, let's start reading in Mark chapter 14, starting in verse 32. Jesus and his disciples went to a place called Gethsemane. Jesus said to them, "Sit here while I pray." He took Peter, James, and John along with him. He began to be very upset and troubled. "My soul is very sad. I feel close to death," he said to them. "Stay here. Keep watch." He went a little farther. Then he fell to the ground. He prayed that if possible, the hour might pass by him. "Abba, Father," he said, "everything is possible for you. Take this cup of suffering away from me, but let what you want to be done, not what I want." Just as Jesus was speaking, Judas appeared. He was one of the 12 disciples. A crowd was with him. They were carrying swords and clubs. The chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders had sent them. Judas, who was going to hand Jesus over, had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man," he said. "Arrest him and have the guards lead him away." So Judas went to Jesus at once. Judas said, "Rabbi," and he kissed Jesus. The men grabbed Jesus and arrested him. Then one of those standing nearby pulled his sword out. He struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. "Am I leading a band of armed men against you?" asked Jesus. "Do you have to come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I was with you. I taught in the temple courtyard. You didn't arrest me, but the scripture must come true." The crowd took Jesus to the high priest. All the chief priests, the elders, and the teachers of the law came together. Then the high priest stood up in front of them. He asked Jesus, "Aren't you going to answer? What are these charges these men are bringing against you?" But Jesus remained silent. He gave no answer. Again the high priest asked him, "Are you the Messiah? Are you the Son of the Blessed One?" "I am," said Jesus, "and you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One. You will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven." The high priest tore his clothes. "Why do we need any more witnesses?" he asked. "You have heard him say a very evil thing against God. What do you think?" Before we jump back into our question, let's just talk about a few things. Jesus goes to the garden to pray, and he asks that the hour might pass by him, meaning that he was asking his Father if there was some other way to save humanity than by him being crucified and suffering horribly, that God would make that possible. But Jesus says, "What you want to be done, not what I want." And this is a good lesson for us. And no matter how bad things seem, that if we do God's plan and not our own, things will always work out for God's glory and our good. Also notice that Jesus here, even though he's being arrested falsely, even though he's been betrayed, he doesn't yell, he doesn't get angry, he doesn't get mad, but he says the scriptures have to come true, and he loves his enemies even though they are persecuting him. And then lastly, Jesus does say that he is the Messiah, that he is the Son of God. And the reason that the high priests don't like this is because they didn't want to believe that Jesus was the Messiah, because if that was true, they would have to do what he said, and they wanted to do what they wanted. So when Jesus is betrayed, arrested, and abused, even though he has done nothing wrong, he never complains or acts like a victim. What does this teach us about how we should react when we face these kinds of situations? Pause the video, think about that, talk about that with your family now that you've read the scripture. As always, write down what God has said to you as a result of this week's lesson. And don't forget our family resources. These are available in the link from which you got the video. I'll be praying for you, and have a great week.